completely kind of off schedule live stream, and I had a few minutes. I kind of had the kitchen to myself. Well, except for Stormy, who's down there, who apparently is today's kitchen helper. But today, what I'm gonna do, I'm basically gonna do something very unexciting and unsexy, which is to do some food saver for the meat. So what I did, I went to Sam's actually. Hey, what's going on, KP? Hey, KRyptec. And so I wound up picking up a big thing of ground beef, and this one, it was 5 pounds, and it comes out to about $5 a pound, which is for beef is actually not bad. The individually wrapped 1 pound, those little chubs, they call them, that little sausage looking package, are actually now in the $6 range. So if I'm 540 and they're selling for 650, hey farmer, what's going on? We're probably looking at, well, let me see, I saved about $1 actually. So shoot, that's a 20% savings. So from $6 to 5, that's not insignificant. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this food saver I picked up a while ago. I'll throw a link in the description once I'm done with the live stream. But that particular food saver I got on sale during COVID, because I'd never gotten around to getting one. Hey Kane, what's going on? And it actually has lasted 4 years already. I like this one because the little bag stays in here and it has the device to cut the bag. And so that way I'm not using scissors and then I'm trying to make an even cut and whatnot. So KP Heathen, did you get rain yesterday or today? Because we're getting an unusual amount of rain in the desert and it's flooding the shit out of the town over. So I'm just curious if you got a bunch of rain. Another thing I'm using, and this is old already, it's a Taylor kitchen scale. And I already washed this out. Here, ripping down some wood for shelves. Taking a break. Oof. Hey, what's going on, Macabus? Always good to see you. So what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna zero out the scale. And let me see if I can bring this a little closer to you guys. So, see, I'm trying to figure out how do I position myself. That sounded wild. No, anyway, all right, you guys will get the picture. So I zeroed out the scale with the bowl in it. And so this is right at 5 pounds. And the way it looks, I could probably just almost do 1, 2, and I'm gonna do it actually in half-pound increments. So it's just my wife and I. Hey, Gerald. Oh yeah, and part of the thought is a lot of times we wind up going to McDonald's or eating out or going to pick, takeout, is because we don't have something prepackaged. We get something like this, and it's like, well, I can't cook 5 pounds of meat for 2 people. That's insane. And we don't we don't plan those meals in advance. And you can use ground beef over pasta. You can use it for tacos. You can use it over pizza. You can make a salad bowl with it, put some, sprinkle beef on it. There, aside from making things like hamburgers and sloppy joes, there's so many things you can do. Hey, Prepper Book Club, what's going on? Preformed burgers. So, to that point, and I think I have some in here. I do. So these are from, when the hell did I do this? These are from June, so these are relatively recent. Made them, sealed them. We actually ate a few that night, and while I was making the burgers, I had everything out. I had my little mold. I just froze it all, whatever we didn't eat that night. So, I don't know. My wife went into the freezer and moved everything around, and it was like an avalanche just now. Like I'm afraid to open the freezer again because I'm afraid like everything's gonna come out. But I used mine the other day to put some chicken and beef in the freezer. Yeah, absolutely. And it's so easy to use. And when I first started playing with the food saver, I looked on YouTube, And there are a lot of people who are like, hey, this is the machine. And then they show you the end product and they don't actually do a video of them actually sealing the damn bag. Like, I didn't know, do I just stick it in? Do I do something to it? So I figured I'd do that for you guys. I have to use, so I got these 8-inch, I have the 11-inch, the big bags, but I'm not using these enough, and I have a slew of these. So if you've never used one before, you hit, oh, well, first you gotta turn it on. It has a seal button on this particular model. The other, Stormy, that's not where you need to be, girl. Go sit over there. She's like, Dad, this is where the food is. You know, you have the bags, and you hit the seal button, and, you know, it opens on both sides. And if you've never seen one of these, hey, little lone, the one side of these bags has ridges, and that's what allows the air to pass through before it seals. So you really hit the seal button, and you just pop in one end. Oh, not like that, man. I put it in crooked, so that didn't help. Let's try that again. Oh. And if it needs to reset, it blinks like you just saw. So, oh, you son of a gun. Like, you literally sealed nothing. I don't know why you need to reset. There we go. If I can get that back in there. And we just kind of leave it there for a minute. Now, I like to label the bag before I actually put the meat in. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get some tongs. And Stormy doesn't like these. When she was a puppy, I go raw to her, and now she's like, I don't like those. See, I played rough with the Corgis because it's a herding dog, right? So they like to roughhouse. And now Bentley's in jail for beating up his sister, so I probably created a monster here. But in any case, I've zeroed out my skill, and now you can see the bottom of the bag. For those of you who've never used this before, you see that little line right across? It's sealed. And now I just basically take the meat out. See if I could do this nicely here. And I'm looking to get about 8 ounces. I'm not, geez, I got plastic stuck on me. I'm not looking for perfection. And I'll tell you what, the way the meat is, right? You see how it has, it comes out of the machine where they mill it. I found like each of these little sections is right about half a pound, so it's kind of perfect for that. And hey, Joe. So we'll just go and pull out one of these puppies and see, it almost came out like a perfect little loaf. And, oh, that was stupid. Let's see, and that's, look at that, 8.6 ounces, which is just slightly over half a pound. It's perfect. Before I do anything else, though, what the hell's today's date? Shit. Today is the 31st of August. Holy cow. It's the 31st of 2025. Where the hell did the last 30 years go? Does anyone else feel that? By the way, I just want all of you to know that Red Dawn came out 40 years ago with Patrick Swayze and Charlie Sheen. 40 freaking years ago. Now all of you can feel old with me. So I'll just label it ground beef. By the way, when you have an injury, it comes back. I hyperextended my hand. Yeah, Patrick was a hell of a guy too. And so you label it, and now you put your little chunk of meat. My grandma said the older you get, the faster the time goes by. So someone told me something really interesting yesterday. He said that his grandpa, his dad, somebody told him, and he's probably in my age group, that as you get older, the years go faster and the days go slower. And I was like, man, that's not untrue. Like, that's quite truthful. Anyway, so here's my half pound of meat. I probably can cut the bag a little bit shorter on the next one. I haven't done this in a little bit. Hey, Billy, what's going on? And then what you do, if, like I said, you make this kind of flat. And the bag has a natural curve to it, you know, because it's in that roll, so it kind of curves this way. So what I like to do, I put it so the curved side is down, and just kind of, I'm gonna move it back, and we'll pop it in here. Now the way this, I don't know if you guys can see that. Now, the way this one works, you don't have to manually seal it. Like there's some, it takes the vacuum and then you have to press a button. This one does it automatically. So, and it shows you the progress here, right? So it goes from, you notice it goes red, 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 and then green. If it's not holding a seal, it's gonna get stuck somewhere in here and it's just gonna go keep going, keep going. You'll usually seal in about 10 to 15 seconds. And look at that. Now this, 8 ounces for 2 people, that's a taco night. I can saute some of this, throw it on into marinara sauce, and I'll stir it around a bit, get it nice and hot, and lay it over. Better sit in freezer for a bit. Oh yeah, no, that's exactly where they're gonna go, games. They're all gonna wind up in the freezer. But yeah, to your point, you can put the big, the pack when you first buy it into the freezer and so it hardens a little bit. I stuck this one at the bottom of the fridge and it kind of made everything kind of hard. So that worked out well. Now the way this one works, I can kind of pull it from here and you see it has this little green arm. So drop it down and, I may have cut that one too short. Let's see if I screwed up here. While it's doing that, I'm going to take my handy dandy little scooper and grab the next batch. And again, I'm not going for... See, people talk about prepping and they show all this stuff about, oh, look at my Solar Ninja panel. And this is really prepping. It's like you sit here for an hour, sometimes by yourself, or you're having a glass of wine, you're like, I got to preserve something. And then you... So let's see. That was a little bit more than I thought. So I'm gonna take a little bit out. I'm trying to get it close. Not exact, but we'll throw that over there. A little bit more. I'm trying to keep it consistent. So at least I know it's half a pound. There you go, 9 ounces, shit. Horseshoes and hand grenades on that one. And hey Chance, what's going on? And once again, and by the way, Chance and I both have books out. Chance, I've yet to remember to buy your book, but I will do so soon. Go check it out. I think he has the link on his channel. And yes, extra hands help, for sure. And also, if you drop, you drop any of the ground beef, I have my helpful Corgi. Bentley's in dog jail right now because he was antagonizing the girls. So I basically have the girls scattered across the house. But anyway, once again, you see how the bag kind of curves naturally a little bit forward, kind of like this way. So I'm just going to put it curving down. And it just takes it up. Now, there are different versions of this machine, but this one works really well. And like I said, I've had this for 4 years now. Male person is here. Male person is here. No problem, Chance, no. And you know what? I wish more preppers, more of our community wrote books. And you don't have to write a big-ass book. You can write something, a couple of 100 pages sounds like a lot, but you can write something. It's not a Tom Clancy novel. It's not a Tale of Two Cities from Dickens. You can write something that just makes practical sense. Share some thoughts. As a matter of fact, on some of the platforms, Amazon, and there's some small publishers, will let you publish basically a novella, a short book of one topic, like how I planted potatoes. And you can write a whole little baby book and throw it up on the internet, and people will buy it. But you also share knowledge in a consumable format, so it's not terrible. Now I'm stepping over Corgis. But anyway, again, you're doing this, and you know what? I don't think I labeled that last bag. That's fine. I know what it is, but still. I'm getting into the chat, and don't forget to vacuum seal. Yeah, no, yes. And that's very true, whoever just put that. Miko, yes. So, like I said, what I like to do, because I'm lefty, right? I write lefty, I throw righty. So, you know, you figure that out. But my chest food is 3/4 fill, 90% sealed, rice, pasta, flour, corn, cinnamon. Went by, sorry. Just write mystery meat on the package, right? Now, the way I write it, we're the 31st of August, so I actually write out, this probably looks backwards to you, but I'll put 31 AUG, A-U-G, 25, 31 J-U-L, 25, because I'm lefty, and I will smear as I'm going from left to right? Because you're right-handed, your hand is not going over what you just write. As a lefty, dry erase boards are the enemy, right? Because you're writing, and then your hand goes over it, and my hand gets blue or something. But I like to write it here, and then just put, you know, ground beef. And 8 ounces. I don't use script on the bags because the bags are weird to write with anyway. I write left but do everything. Well, I write and eat left. There's certain things, like I can switch hands in my tools. So I can be drilling with the right and then just instinctively just move to the left and move them back and forth, which absolutely freaked my dad out when I was a kid. He's like, pick a hand. Me estás jodiendo, you know, and he'd get annoyed with me. But he's an interesting guy, my dad. Oh, probably need to measure that before I start throwing shit in there. So I'm having fun chatting with you guys, and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. But that's all right. Oh, my scale died. Oh, that wasn't right. Let's try that again. I have to re-zero. 0. Ta-da. 6.6. I need a little bit more. And like I said, I'm not getting exact. I'm trying to get it between 8 and 9 ounces. And if it's a little over, that's fine too. There you go. 8.5 ounces, half a pound right there. Bam. We had to learn to use my right hand to write. So, but yeah, honestly, a lot of preppers, you know, we talk about a lot of stuff. And we talk about, oh, look at this bag, look at this bug out setup, and look at my 4x4 and whatever. And in reality, a lot of it is this. And this is not just preparedness, right? This is food prep. This is grocery haul, as you see on the lady TikTokers. Hey, Watchman. This is, you save 15 to 20% buying in bulk, and then you seal it, and you've got a meal, right? So if you come home, you know, you got the kids, you're coming home late, or you had a long day at work, and you're like, oh crap, what do I do? Well, you know, you prep pasta, right? You prep some spaghetti sauce, and you got one of these. You throw this in the microwave, put it on defrost, forget about it until it beeps at you. Throw on some spaghetti sauce in a skillet or in a pot. Start boiling some water. Right? When the meat's ready, you saute it and get it nice and brown. You mix it in with your sauce, boom. You got dinner in 15, 20 minutes tops. The longest part is the boiling of the water for your pasta. Now I also use that got really loud. So I also use that's not supposed to be there. I also use the Foodsaver to vacuum seal Mylar bags, and there's a little trick to it. I really need to do a video on how I do that. Because if you just stick the Mylar in there, it doesn't pull a vacuum. It clamps up and the air doesn't get taken out. And there's a way to do it to where it sucks the air out, and then it does a quick seal, but then you have to go over it with a flat iron. You can vacuum seal pizza too if you get home late. Just throw it in. Yeah, and you know how I heat it? If you don't have if you don't want to throw it in the oven, I put it in my air fryer. Pizza in an air fryer will take about 3 minutes, and it comes out great. Like you just put it through the oven. I mean, it comes out really good. But anyway, that's it. And you know, I'm not worried about the shape. I don't care. It kind of looks like a turd. That's fine. Um, and I like the half-pound amounts. I've seen those. They're great for cats. um, I've seen finish steers selling for 3,000 if you can afford to buy steers. So, farmer, if you go to the FFA or the 4-H clubs at the high schools, they very often will offer to sell a steer uh, or a pig, whatever animal. But we've also been able to split it with other folks. Now, there's ranches out here in West Texas. For those of you who watch Yellowstone, the 4-6's ranch, which they mention in that series, is actually a ranch here. As a matter of fact, the producer of Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan, that's his family ranch. The Sheridans have been here since like the 1800s. But there's a lot of meat markets here that buy direct from the ranch. You could go to the meat markets and say, I'd like to pay for a quarter of a cow. Or you can split it. You get 2 or 3 people and we all go and say, okay, each of us wants a third cow. And what they do, that each of us pays our portion in, ourselves. And then when they're processing other beef, they set aside those sections for the 3 of us. And then we come back with a cooler and pick it up. So check the local meat markets. It's always a good way to really, save some money. And Watchmen, we had a lot of that. Wildfires, there was a worm going around last month. Oh, that's a lot of meat. I can already tell that's way over 8 ounces. But yeah, also keep in mind, and granted, this isn't sexy, right? It's like, look at that, 8.5 ounces. Bam! This is not the sexy part of prepping. This is kind of the boring part of preparedness, right? But the boring part is also the bread and butter part, right? Because it also is convenient. It also helps you save money. Obviously, you can use it in an emergency. My the bigger Jackery I have, I specifically bought that size to run my freezer and my fridge. Now I have an open chest freezer, and a lot of people think, oh, I have to leave the Jackery plugged into the freezer the whole time the power's out, and that's not true. You just have to keep it frozen. And if the meat and whatever other product you have is full, it stays cold longer, right? And that's why I like the chest freezers, because cold air always goes down, right? We all know that from high school. So when you have the open door, like the fridge style freezer, and you open it, all the cold air just drops out. So what I like to do is, when I've had power outages, I take the Jackery, I walk to the freezer, and I plug it in. And I wait till the compressor goes on, I let it run a cycle, and then I check it, everything's frozen, I unplug it, move it to the fridge, plug the fridge in, and then I can unplug the Jackery and just leave it be for a while, maybe charge it with my solar panels, and then, 45 an hour or 2 later, I'll go back to the freezer, plug it in again, and get the compressor kicked off, let it freeze for 15 minutes. All I'm doing is keeping it frozen. So it doesn't have to be there just pumping out electricity the whole time. And people don't think of that. But this is one of those not so sexy parts of preparedness, but it also, and the whole book, Defensive Preparedness, is, the whole principle is preparing for hardships during uncertain and difficult economic times. That's what defensive prepping was. When I defined it and I put it in that book, that's what it meant to be. And so, again, 8 ounces, or else I'll forget. So even doing boring things like this, sharing them on the web, you make a video you make a video for your family members. I'm blessed in that. So when my youngest son and his wife got married, we bought them a Foodsaver. And somebody's texting me here. We bought them a Foodsaver. They were stationed in Hawaii, and I bought them a Foodsaver, and we went to Sam's, and my daughter-in-law and we wound up getting like 6 pounds of chickens, 6 or 8 pounds of beef. We got all sorts of meats. And my son and I, we basically went through like almost a case of Coors beer, and we were just putting some salt, a little salt and pepper. I sometimes pre-season the meat. This batch I'm not. We'll put some stuff together, and we sealed all the beef, then we sealed all the chicken. We pulled everything out of his freezer and organized it. And my daughter-in-law has been doing it ever since. She kind of just watched what we were doing. And hey, independent, what's going on? Now she's been calling me about tips for using cast iron. How do I season it? How do I season between meals? And I have my own tricks. Some people look at what I do and go, that's not right. It works. It works for me. So Venezuela thing is going to pop off. So interesting. So Venezuela, I have friends from Venezuela who are here. They're expat engineers and whatnot. And I will tell you right now, all of them are getting their green card. None of them want to go back right now. They said it is as bad as we think. One of my coworkers was one of the students at the time, about, was it 12 years ago, when they had the student riots, and Maduro basically sent the military in 8.6 ounces. I'm just eyeballing it at this point. Maduro sent the military in, and you remember those videos where the military vehicles were just driving through the street, and they had shot some students. It was ugly. So he was out there, and he had just started working for the company, and he managed to get a transfer to the States, and he's been a citizen now for, he's a young guy too, younger than me, and he said it's bad over there. Like, iChrometer is on Pete. He said it's ugly, and I asked him, seal on the machine itself, melt together. Oh, nice, Paladin. You probably overran it. Many Washington State under, yes. So you notice it, you didn't hear it ramp up. That means it didn't get a good seal. And I'll bet you, yep. I don't know if you can see that. You see that corner got turned up? So it didn't get a good seal because the bag didn't catch right. So let me see if I can get this in here. I think that did it. Yeah. So this bag somehow either didn't seal on the bottom or it's not sealing on the top. Something's not right. So in a case like that, I'm just gonna cut a new one. The bag material, sometimes it just doesn't, shakes the bag around sometimes. Well, sometimes that works. I think this one didn't seal in the lower corner, so the air is coming out of the bottom as I'm trying to seal it from the top. So now I will tell you, I went to Sam's and Costco today. I looked at the Foodsaver bags, and the bags were cheaper at Costco. I had not looked at Amazon today to see what they look like, but yeah, it's ground beef, 8 ounces, and there we go. Yeah, so if you're looking for Foodsaver bags, Walmart had them, but my Walmart here, the bags were always, like the boxes were all torn up. Like they didn't handle them right when they unloaded. And so, let me mush this meat down a bit so I can, I don't know. And there you go. That one sounds like it. You hear it? Yeah, you see how you heard the motor kind of ramp up and the pitch goes up? That's how you know you got a seal. So this bag probably, that's fine, I'll just throw it out. That's not a big deal. And there you go. see what we got here. So again, folks, this is one of those not so sexy sides of prepping, but it's a necessary side, and it also applies to other parts of your life. Having the food at home, 8.7 ounces. I've been within 0.2 ounces of 8.5 ounces the last few bags. Having the food at home, hey, do some. Having the food at home, it's not just a preparedness thing. This is a convenience thing. This is a money-saving thing. This is also a family thing, right? You have family come over and they call. They're like, hey, my car's giving me trouble. I'm passing by town. I could pull, each of these is roughly 8 ounces. I'll pull 2 of them out. I got a pound of ground beef. I can defrost them in the microwave real quick. Put some water to boil or put some rice to boil. Have rice, you can do like the old Cuban style rice. You can do meat sauce over pasta. So many things you can do. And we need to think in those terms. We need to think, well, is my prep also good for day to day? And I talk about that in the book. What you do for prepping should also make your day-to-day life easier, right? I come home from work, I'm tired, wife was working on a web design project all night, she's tired, we're both zombies. I'm like, I'm gonna nuke some, go get a loaf of bread at HEB and I'm gonna make, I don't know, whatever, I'll defrost some hamburgers, get some buns on the way home, whatever. It makes life simpler and you're saving money. And God forbid there's an emergency, you're already prepared for it because you have the stuff here. When you can do accomplish multiple goals, that's truly the whole essence of defensive preparedness, is being ready for those hardships. And remember, an SHTF doesn't have to be the zombie apocalypse, right? An SHTF for a lot of people could be losing a job. It could be losing a loved one. I had a coworker who told me his worst SHTF experience back in Houston, house fire. Did $60,000 of damage to the house, and it was unlivable for about a month. He said, do you know the disruption that was? And he said, granted, your prepping stuff could catch fire. We only can do so much. But he had a storage unit for, his like ATV and some other stuff. He had some outdoor goodies. And what he did, he started leaving emergency food, Readywise, whatever freeze-dried stuff in the same storage unit. Also change of clothes and emergency bags, not really a bug out bag, it's more like a get home bag kind of thing. See, there you go. Now you got 2 more. Boom, boom. But a house fire can 100% be an SHTF. Right? A house fire could absolutely devastate a family. Losing your job. Where my wife's working, that group is not so stable, they could go under. If that happens, right now we suddenly are losing an income. We need to be ready for that. Well, you know what? We got a bunch of food here. We're actually already doing it. That's part of why I'm doing this, is for little potatoes if you go on a trip. So I've done that. I've actually sealed. I got a great one for you, Kane. Hold on. So I probably need to do this video again. I made hardtack. This is 2021. And I'm waited to see if it would get moldy or funky, and it's not. And for the record, it's like hard. Like if I hit someone like a ninja star with this, I'd leave them a black eye. I just decided one day I'm gonna look up the Civil War recipe for hardtack. And I made a bunch of hardtack. And I've made it before, but this was like the first really big batch, and I sealed them. And so this was one of my experiments. I wanted to see how long it would preserve. Now they say that there were soldiers being given hardtack that had been stored by the Army during World War I that was made during the Spanish-American War in the late 1800s, like 20 years before. So, which is kind of funny when you think about it. Stormy, it's not dinner time yet, girl. Stormy's hovering around because she knows when I'm in this corner of the kitchen, I have the stovetop here and the prep area behind me. So they're all laying down taking naps, but their ears are watching me, if that makes sense. Like Pepper's completely passed out, but her ear is aimed at me on the left side of her head because she wants to make sure Dad doesn't do something that involves a snack. If I say the word C-O-O-K-I-E, like loudly, I'm gonna have all the dogs in the kitchen. It's like, right. Well, and also, well, farmer, sometimes you get some air trapped in the bag. So it was purely an experiment to see would I be able to create that food. Also, the way hardtack is made, it's really salt. It's unleavened bread, but thick, salt, water, and flour. And then you roll it about, 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick, and you put it in the oven on a cookie sheet, and you just bake those little biscuits. And you got to poke holes in this top and bottom, or else they'll sometimes they will explode, like an air pocket will get out. But yeah, you cook them and they last forever. And if those of you Lord of the Rings fan, when they were talking about eating lambdas bread, and it was wrapped in that leaf that the elves gave the hobbits, that's actually a reference to hardtack. So, chili and put a vacuum seal bag. And yes, Miko. Oh, my friend, let me see if I have one here. Oh, I don't. Yes, I do. Chili in a square. So I actually used a mold that you use for measuring dough for bread, and I stuck it in the freezer, and then I had to fight with it. It was silicone, so I popped it out, and bam. T-A-C-K, hard tack. And by the way, it makes a great, they are chili cubes. That's exactly what they are. And I can throw a little water in a pot and just drop one in there, put it on low heat. You can also drop them in your slow cooker and just let it cook. But yeah, so we made these. When did we make these? Oh no, this is birria. Oh, this is birria taco meat chili. Ooh, yum. I want to defrost one of these and eat it. But yeah, all these ideas, think about it, guys. We spend so much time, we do prepping and we talk about all this fancy stuff. But, buying a solar generator is expensive. Costco has a combo. It's $600, right? Not unreasonable for the product, but it's $600. For a lot of people, that's a car payment. That's your groceries for the month or two, depending on your circumstances. Being able to have the food ready, it's in the house, you defrost it. And keep in mind, it's also a safety thing. Like, remember during COVID, right? People are in lines, people are having riots, everyone was freaking out. If you are at home and you're not having to go on the street during an emergency, this is a good thing. One, you're not in the responders' way, right? Because the cops and firefighters are doing their thing, and you don't want to be up in their business and blocking their traffic and whatnot. But also keep in mind that, you not being out means people who may be freaking out, desperate, or being violent, if you're not involved in the street, you don't get involved in the street fights, if that makes sense. So, hold on a second here. There we go. Are they ballistic? You could put them in your plate carrier. Probably. They are chili cubes, but hey, good afternoon, Pilgrim. So folks, yeah, keep it basic, but remember, when you prep stuff like this, it's not sexy. This is boring. Like I'm doing the same thing over and over, right? We're having a conversation on the chat, so it makes it a little more fun. But these are the things that are the foundational items for preparedness, right? Having the food, knowing how to cook the food you prep. I can't tell you, I've had, people come to me, oh, well, I don't know why you prep beef or, whatever product, because I wouldn't know how to cook it anyway. Well, that's a bad thing. If there's an emergency, you can't be picky. You want to be able to make whatever is available palatable. I mean, all jokes aside, with Livingston Man and Vision about their 80-20 zombie blend or whatever it was they were doing. The truth is, you don't like Spam, but that's what you got. You're going to at least want to be able to make something palatable out of what you have. By the time they actually... And possible, Watchmen, because there are a lot of them, a lot of the solar generators, they do have a shelf life, right? There's so many years that you can use them. I use mine, actually when I do the 4 Horsemen, I plug my laptop and my light. Oh, that's a lot of meat. That was not what I meant to do. I put my laptop and my light and plug it into the solar generator. I run it down a bit, and then oh, that's a little, not enough. And then I recharge them when it gets to a certain level, 8.6 ounces, hell yeah. So I at least run it in cycles. It's good if you have a generator, like a gas generator, pull it out. I'm probably overdue to do mine. And just run it for 10 minutes. Plug a lamp or a fan into it and run it for a bit. Now, I might wind up giving my son mine when he moves to Colorado. His next duty station is supposed to be in the country somewhere. And then, yeah, you do. You can vacuum seal the rest of it. Important. Yes, and Miko, just a very good point. You can vacuum seal it. You can also Mylar bag them. And I actually, like I said earlier, I have figured out a way to pull a vacuum seal on a Mylar bag. But when you buy the pancake batter, make sure you don't get the one that requires egg and oil or egg and milk, because now it's not a one-stop shop. Like, if you get the regular pancake batter, you just add water. Let me see if I have an example. Yeah, so like you see here, yeah, exactly, Kane. So, just add water. And there's some, like, my wife had one, it's a bougie one, and you need an egg and milk. And yeah, you can use powdered milk and throw a little water in there, and that kind of equals the same thing. But yeah, I like to buy them this size. I'll get 2 boxes at a time. I'll Mylar one, and I put the other one in here. And this is actually the pancake and waffle mix glass jar. And, I'll make waffles and pancakes. I'll just pull some out. I've actually made biscuits out of pancake mix, which is really good. But again, yeah, you want to do things. So I got away with not using the oil, but it does come out a bit flat. Basically what I got was a crinkly pancake, but it tasted good, so I was happy with it. But when you prep, remember, it's not just the really exotic things. It's not just, oh, I got the $500 binoculars or night vision or whatever. You need to be able to do this stuff and then make something decent out of what you store. It annoys me. I'll hear people say, oh, you just need rice and beans. Well, technically, yeah, you can live on rice and beans. I, off the top of my head, can probably make rice and beans 5 different ways, but most people can't, right? All that dough will make you, well, you spread it out, do some, but to your point, you don't want to overdo any one of your items, right? Because that'll just, and also if you do eat a lot of dough or carb products, you need to make sure you stay active. Because, well, I guess if there were a major emergency, you'd be like fixing your house anyway, so that would probably count as your exercise. But still, you know, balance out what you prep. But again, this is not just a prep for prepping's sake. It's also a money saving thing for me. Pilgrim, I hope you've been doing well, man. Pilgrim's been super busy lately too. I think we all have. But I can't emphasize that enough, because a lot of people own tire machine. Your own tire machine. Oh yeah, that would, actually you could, other people would pay you to fix their tires, or put them on the rims. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. When you go through your day-to-day, your week-to-week routine, make sure that when you spend money thinking, okay, I'm going to do this as a preparedness thing, it should also be, yeah, no, silly, these governing diet and meditation cause diabetes. Diet and meditation. But point being, when you spend money for prepping, ask yourself, can I also use this on the day-to-day? Can I use this if I have surprise guests? Can I use this if I can, you know, it's not a blackout, but I got a wife invited someone and forgot to tell me. Can I pull some meat out, make a quick thing of chili? Can I make some hamburgers out of it? I make flatbread out of it. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you can find multiple uses for what you're buying, then it's not just a prep, it's pragmatic, right? You're saving money. And again, it goes back to like the meat storage I'm doing right now. It's not sexy. It's kind of boring. It's not exciting. There's no bougie music. There's no special effects. It's a stupid thing going, "Rah," and then it poops out a sealed bag. You know, not super exciting. The dogs are passed out because it's boring. But I have, hey, Rebecca Lynn, I have food. I get a, you know, heck, I could have a friend call me and say, hey, you know, I just broke down in town. My daughter-in-law and son live 4 hours away. They could have some kind of emergency. And my son calls and says, I'm sending mama and the kids to you, Dad. Well, I got food here. I got a place for them to stay. I've got extra water. I've got vitamins. I've got the stuff I need to accommodate. And it's something my brother and I have talked about, because he's like us, right? He's a preparedness-minded person. He said any one of us could be the bug out location. And it's very true, right? We could have a catastrophe out here in a refinery and I have to bail out. Me and the potatoes, we're packing up the 2 SUVs and we're gone. And we've done it for hurricanes where we can pack up the whole house. We even have I have to do a video on that thing. It's basically a travel box that goes in the back seat of my wife's 4Runner. And the dogs each go in with their harness, 1, 2, 3, 4 dogs next to each other, and then they get tangled in the middle anyway. And then we fill up stuff on the back. She's got a roof rack. I've got a roof rack. I've got that trailer hitch basket. We can put so much shit in the cars in under 30 minutes. Literally move almost anything of significant value in the house out of the house and be gone. Certainly with under an hour. But again, an SHTF could be a house fire. It could be someone else's. A family member has an emergency, and now they're in a hotel or they're in or Airbnb, living off whatever they could grab. I can grab a bunch of this preserved food, the Mylar bag stuff, the frozen stuff, throw it in a cooler, get some ice, drive to their location, and supply them with amounts, an amount of food to get them by for a week, 2 weeks, whatever they need. So remember, you're not just prepping for yourself, you're prepping for people you love, and they may not necessarily come to you. It's so dependent on people, services, and they can't do repair on their own. Well, and it's also by design, Watchmen. A lot of the vehicles now make it really hard to work on them. It's not like the old frying pan air filter that we used to have, or carburetor, where you could spray in there and it started working again. But to your point, yeah, the more you know, or that you can source personally, the better off you'll be. And it's just in general. If you can fix firearms and mechanical devices like that, or you can, so the puppy decided it would be okay to kill the cord on a lamp, right? Of course, she didn't chew it in the middle where I could splice it. She chewed it right under where the wall plug was. And we got a zap for that, so she never did that again. The lamp punished her. But of course, now I had basically a fucked up lamp. So I went to Lowe's, I bought, because I can do electrical stuff like nobody's business. I pulled the lamp completely apart. I mean, it was in pieces. I pulled the cable out, rewired the whole thing from the light socket all the way out to the base, reassembled it again, and bam. Put the lamp back up about 45 minutes later. It took me a minute because there were a lot of parts, and done. So, being able to do any skill is something you can do. I'm considering buying an older truck instead of newer. Yeah. And even if you get a newer truck, at least be familiar with its capabilities and its shortcomings, right? Hybrids don't scare me as much because I understand the concept. The EVs terrify me because it's basically you're driving a computer. Honest to God, I'd rather have one of those puffed up golf carts that you see people racing in and leave that in the back of the property. By the way, a golf cart is not a bad bug out vehicle if you can figure out a way to speed it up. But anyway, look, this is not sexy. This is boring. It's kind of goofy. I have passed out dogs, but these are the things that are foundational to preparedness. Storing the food, storing the water, having first aid kits, knowing how to put a tourniquet on, knowing how to stage a tourniquet, right? Do you know where your fire extinguishers are? My daughter's friend set himself on fire because he was spray painting in a closed garage in the winter. Confined space, those of you who worked in confined spaces on the farms or in the oil rigs or anywhere else, you know what was happening. Overlander had a big, basically cloud of gas in there. And then he lit a heat element, set the freaking garage. The garage burst fire, like the pictures of the garage door had pushed out. And he was in the middle of it, in that ball of fire. Now it flamed out almost instantly, right? It was like, boom. He came out, he was on fire. The roommate told my daughter he legit looked like the Ghost Rider flame, because he had a can of paint, and when the flame went off, the can detonated, the bottom came off, and the metallic paint hit him in the chest and went up. He's lucky he still has his eyes and ears, but it torched the kid. And my daughter said they had a security cam. She watched the video and she said, I won't ever watch it again. And this is a vet tech. This is someone who did, yes, exactly what it was, a flashover. Look, confined space fumes. It's an OSHA thing. You just know. And he survived. He's still around with us. But she saw the video, and she said the kids were running around and they were trying to roll him in the carpet, and they didn't know what to do. They were trying to pour water on him, but somehow the explosion damaged the incoming water, and it's just a hot mess. And so my daughter was looking in the pantry under the sink, and she goes, guys, where the hell is your fire extinguisher? This is 5 22, 24-year-old guys living together. And they said, what? She said, your fire extinguisher, you don't have one in the kitchen. Where is it? We don't have a fire extinguisher. And my daughter said, Dad, I wanted to punch them, but they were already traumatized. The baking soda, they didn't even think of it. They panicked. They actually, one was trying to put him out with a jacket, and the jacket caught fire. It was just like this comedy, this dark comedy of errors, because of a basic thing, a fire extinguisher, right? A first aid kit somewhere, a tourniquet. Yeah, and you know, then a young guy got hurt and they damaged a building, the whole 9 yards. He's lucky he's alive. But, you know, when you don't do the fundamental things, that's when people get hurt. So, major depression, war, industry failure, we're going to need stuff. We can keep going. So, you know, even like, you know, I'm in my kitchen right now. Got the janky ass flashlight. I got glow sticks, which I've had to use. I was in the kitchen during one blackout and it was bad, and it just went dark, and it was dark outside already, and I was in the kitchen. And I'm like, I just cracked a glow stick and went, and threw one into the living room, and I threw one in the dining area because I have an open concept house, and all of a sudden we had light and we could see where we were. You know, I've got bandages. I know my fire extinguisher is under this potato who's sleeping here. It's under the sink. I got another one in the kitchen. I got one in the master bedroom, because if fire breaks out, I may have to come to the house to get the dogs out, and I don't want to walk on fire. So having a fire extinguisher is a good thing. So you keep one in the master, one in the garage, which is where chemicals and stuff are, one in the kitchen, and then I have first aid kits in my office, in the kitchen, in the bedroom also. So you spread them out a little bit, and also you get discounts for having fire extinguishers in your house. So folks, I'm gonna pull one of these out. But yeah, folks, look, the basic things, the fundamental are so important, and it's boring, right? Mounting a fire extinguisher is boring. Doing this with the meat, you know, the meat prep stuff, that's not very exciting. Look here, look at that, watch. I zeroed the scale. Woo, exciting. No, not exciting. It's boring as shit. Hey, Daryl, what's going on? But you know what? I do that thing now. Take an hour of my time. We've been live for about an hour, and I'm going slower because I'm chatting with y'all. But, you know, you get those things done now while times are not horrendous, so that you don't have a complete nightmare. Because what you don't want to do is try and prep stuff. Actually, you know what? I don't have a lot left, so I might do a whole pound on this one and just call it good. Let's see. 3/4 pound. I can live with that. I'll need a bigger bag though. You take the time to do it now, and it doesn't take a lot of time. I've said this in a lot of my videos. Do an hour Saturday, hour Sunday. If you have 30 minutes during the week, couple of nights a week, you do little preps. Those little baby preps, they add up. They add up over time to give you the food you need or whatever equipment. And cleaning out my freezers, canning, getting ready for hunting season. See, Lioness, that's a great thing. I need to clean out this freezer because we have a disaster of snacks in there. That was the fault of my better half, who had friends come over, and they, like, the girls put all the snacks in the freezer, all the ice cream, whatever the hell they bought. And you know, my freezer's a train wreck. But even so, you know, do those things now, and you don't have to worry about it later. Hold on a second here. An 8 ounce. Oh no, that's actually 13 ounces. How about just do 3/4 pound? There you go. Close enough. Not exactly 3/4 pound, but close enough. Getting these things done now. Hey, Cha-Cha. Before you have to go to the store in an emergency, you can check your fridge. Now, you may run out, right? We all run out. We lose track of things. We don't rotate because we get busy. But at least the first step I would do if something really catastrophic happens somewhere, okay, let's pull all the food and let's look at what we have. And that way, if I do go out, I have a very specific list of what I'm missing, what I need, and it's going to minimize the amount of time I'm out in the street or in the stores while everyone is freaking out. I'll go there, get my 4 or 5 items, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm gone. And again, your neighbor could have a fire. You can get some of these foods that are frozen, some food-savored food, some Mylar food, gives them some food and say, hey, look, this will get you by for a week or two while you get your house fixed or whatever struggle you're going through. Again, an SHTF isn't the zombie apocalypse. It can be a damn hell. It can be a job loss. It can be a house fire. It can be a car accident. There's so many reasons to have a little bit of an inventory at home. Yeah, don't wait for the zombie apocalypse. And remember, if you're spending money, right, the Foodsavers are a great prepping tool, but I can also use it to save money day to day. It has multiple uses in my mind. So think like that. Make sure that anything you're spending money, time, or energy on is not just for prepping, but can be used for anything else you're doing. In any case, folks, I'm about done here. So thank you for joining me for this kind of off-schedule live stream. And I'll put some links for all the goodies down below. But you guys be safe out there. Don't forget to check out Chance's book and my book. His is Bug Out Bunker. Oh, shit, I forgot what it's called, Chance. Put the title of your book in there, man. I just blanked out. Mine is Defensive Preparedness, Preparing for Hard Economic Times. Hold on. He's going to put it in here. Hang on. Chance, what was the title? I just blanked out. Help me out here. Did he put it in there? Thank Bunker Basic. God bless. Unpacking your first prepper cache. Okay, there you go. Bunker Basics and Defensive Preparedness. And again, if you write a book or you do something, any of you in the chat, and you'd like one of us to give you a quick shout out, email us or tag us in a post, let us know. And if you have a business in Etsy or something and you need help getting it out there, let us know as well. I'm all about people. If you got a side gig, you're making a little extra money, times are hard, stuff's expensive. Let's help each other out. Let's shout each other out when we can. You guys be good, be safe out there, and keep out of trouble.